Briggs? This is Colton Briggs's place?
And I'm his wife. You boys have woke up the devil.
God damn it, Jimmy. You bringing hell down on us.
The story opens in the year 1878, situated within the rugged landscapes of the Montana Territory. We are introduced to a small settlement here, home to a man named Colton Briggs. Briggs is a figure of local legend. His cold efficiency and lethal aim are the subject of whispers throughout the region. He is a man who never misses a shot and has meted out punishment to every criminal who has crossed his path. Because of these specific talents, he is currently contracted to work for the government. Today, a grim spectacle is unfolding. A man is set to be hanged in full view of the village. This prisoner is associated with a massive, notorious gang known for their brutal robberies. Their modus operandi is terrifyingly simple. They invade homes, steal valuables, assault the inhabitants, and leave no survivors before fleeing. The man currently facing the noose is the brother of Walter, the leader of this dangerous outfit. Colton is present to ensure the execution goes according to plan. He oversees the security, ensuring nothing goes awry, fully aware that Walter commands a large force. The tension is palpable. Everyone anticipates that Walter will arrive with his men to liberate his brother. The town sheriff is also present, standing ready. The condemned man, Robert, waits for his end. However, just before the execution can be finalized, chaos erupts. Walter arrives with his entire gang, unleashing a storm of bullets from every direction. In the initial volley, the sheriff is killed instantly. Panic spreads through the crowd as a frenzy of violence takes over the town. However, Colton Briggs remains calm amidst the bedlam. Seizing his opportunity, he begins to systematically dismantle the attacking force. He moves with terrifying precision. One bullet is all he needs for each target. His aim, as the legends say, is flawless. Eventually, Robert realizes that Colton has single-handedly wiped out his brother's men. Desperate, he grabs a gun to take Colton down, but Colton is faster and ends Robert's life as well. In the aftermath, we see Robert's young child, named James. The child has witnessed the entire bloody affair, watching his father die right before his eyes. But beyond the grief, he has also watched Colton with a searing intensity. We see a burning desire for vengeance taking root in James's gaze. It is clear he intends to avenge his father one day. Colton meets the boy's stare for a moment, cold and indifferent, before walking away. Time drifts forward, and the narrative jumps ahead by 20 years. We are reintroduced to Colton, but he is a changed man. He has completely abandoned his life of killing and has transformed into an ordinary citizen. This change was brought about by a woman named Ruth, who became his wife. After marrying her, Colton settled into a modest life in a small house. They have a daughter named Brooke. Colton's entire world has shrunk to these domestic boundaries. He has no desire to harm anyone ever again. We see a glimpse of their happy family life as Colton takes his daughter to drop her off at school. However, upon arriving, they find the school closed because the teacher is unwell. With the holiday announced, Colton takes Brooke with him to his workplace in town. He runs a small general store now, earning an honest living to support his household. As he cleans the shop with his daughter curiously looking around, the scene shifts back to his home. Ruth is outside hanging laundry to dry. Suddenly, an adult James appears. The boy who watched his father die has grown up. He approaches Ruth, feigning innocence, telling her that he and his companions have lost their way and asking if they can rest at her house for a while. But Ruth is a sharp, intuitive woman. Sensing the malice behind their request, she realizes their intentions are sinister. She attempts to flee, running for her life, but the men give chase. They quickly catch her, dragging her back to the house. James then reveals his true nature. He tells her, "You don't even know who I am. My name is James, and your husband killed my father in front of my eyes." He admits he doesn't know what lies Colton has told her, but asserts that her husband is a monster who has killed countless people. James declares he is here for revenge and that she will pay for the sins her husband committed. Ruth is then brutally killed. Later, Colton returns home with Brooke. Even from a distance, his instincts tell him something is wrong. As he gets closer, he spots Marshal Jarrett and a posse of men. Jarrett approaches Colton cautiously. Upon confirming Colton's identity, Jarrett is incredulous. He expresses shock that a man like Briggs, a man whose name makes people tremble, whose only trade was death, could have a family. He is amazed that such a man could reform himself. Colton, ignoring the commentary, asks why the marshal is there. Jarrett apologetically explains that they heard gunshots. When they arrived, they found Ruth's body. She had been murdered. For Colton, the world ends in that singular moment. Jarrett watches him, unsure how to handle a man of Colton's volatile reputation, but everyone tries to remain calm. After a long silence, Colton simply states he will dig a grave for his wife. He begins the task right next to the house. Jarrett stays close. He feels a sense of responsibility and believes a great injustice has occurred. He feels someone must watch over the father and daughter. As Colton digs, Jarrett sits nearby and speaks to him, acknowledging the strength of Colton's late wife. He notes that when Colton was young, he was uncontrollable and listened to no one, but Ruth managed to tame him. Jarrett admits that keeping Colton on the straight and narrow without her will be difficult. While Jarrett talks, he observes Brooke. He notices something unsettling. There isn't a single tear in the girl's eyes. Usually, a child whose mother has just died would be broken, but Brooke displays no visible emotion. Jarrett then turns his attention back to Colton. Colton demands to know who killed his wife. Jarrett advises him to stay calm and let the law handle it. He promises to find and punish the murderers but warns Colton not to walk down his old, bloody path. "Don't take the law into your own hands," he urges. Jarrett and his men eventually leave. However, the moment they are gone, Colton goes to an old trunk. Inside, hidden for 20 years, are his weapons. The time has come to unearth them. Regardless of the consequences, he cannot let his wife's killers live. He gears up, brings Brooke outside, and sets their house on fire, burning his domestic life to the ground. In the early morning light, Brooke mentions she needs to go back into the house. Colton stops her, explaining that they no longer have a home. They are now on a mission. Their singular goal is to kill the men who murdered her mother. He promises that once the job is done, they will build a new home and start over. Brooke accepts this, her demeanor calm. Meanwhile, we see Jarrett on the hunt for James, determined to catch the criminals. As they ride, he remarks to his men about how strange he found Colton's daughter. He recalls sitting with her for hours, talking about her mother, yet she shed no tears. He notes that while most children would break inside, she seemed unaffected. He continues to muse on this, unaware that they are riding into a trap. James's gang is hiding in the terrain ahead. They have spotted the marshal and realized he is coming for them. To save themselves, they initiate an ambush, firing from all sides. With the element of surprise and the high ground, James's men pick off Jarrett's team easily. They kill almost everyone in the posse. Once they feel safe, the gang retreats. Elsewhere, Colton and Brooke are slowly tracking the trail. After traveling for hours, Colton spots a man approaching them. It is one of Jarrett's deputies, badly wounded from the ambush. Colton, initially wary, draws his gun and tells Brooke to stay put. He maneuvers through the bushes and flanks the man, putting his gun to the deputy's head. He demands to be taken to Jarrett. The injured man explains the attack and leads Colton to the site of the massacre. When they arrive, Marshal Jarrett is startled to see Colton. Colton immediately takes charge, tying the hands of the survivors and confiscating their guns. He begins to sharpen his knife ominously. He turns to Jarrett and accuses him of withholding information. "I know you know who killed my wife, but you aren't telling me," Colton says, threatening torture to extract the truth. Jarrett tries to reason with him. He acknowledges Colton's difficult journey to reform and begs him not to revert to his old ways. "Stop this bloodshed," he pleads, promising that the law will punish the criminals. But Colton is past listening. He finishes sharpening his knife and approaches the wounded deputy. He demands the name one last time. Terrified, the deputy cracks. He reveals the killer is James, who leads a gang of escaped convicts. He explains that after escaping jail, they attacked Colton's family and are now heading to Colorado to retrieve stolen money they buried there after a previous robbery. This is the information Colton needed. He approaches the wounded man with the knife, but instead of hurting him, he uses the blade to skillfully extract the bullet from the man's wound. It is a twist. He uses his skills to heal, not harm. He treats their injuries briefly before leaving with Brooke. On the other side, James and his gang arrive at another town. Paranoia sets in. James orders his men to stand guard, warning them that Colton Briggs could arrive at any moment. "You guys don't know how dangerous that man is," he warns them. Back in the wilderness, darkness falls. Colton tells his daughter they must camp for the night and will resume tracking in the morning. As they sit by the fire, the silence is broken by Brooke. She looks at her father and asks the question that has been hanging over them. "What was your previous life like?" "The life that everyone is afraid of. Why, after all?" Colton finally opens up to his daughter, revealing the truth about his nature. He explains that he was different from other children right from the start. While others laughed or cried, he remained stoic. He felt absolutely nothing. Even when his mother passed away and the rest of the room was in tears, he sat there quietly, unable to summon a single emotion. As he grew older, this numbness translated into violence. He began killing, and just like before, he felt nothing, no remorse, no thrill. However, he noticed that people were terrified of him. He could see the fear of death in their eyes, but he couldn't understand it. He didn't know what fear, pain, or death truly meant to a human heart. That all changed when he met her mother, Ruth. She transformed his existence. For the first time, he felt fear, the fear that someone might hurt her. He realized that if she were gone, everything he had built would collapse. He married her simply to keep her close, to protect that new feeling. Their family life was beautiful, and he happily left his violent past behind. But now that she is dead, half of his world has been destroyed. He looks at Brooke and tells her that she is the only part of his world left. He vows that the men who ruined their lives will pay with their own. As he finishes speaking, tears stream down Colton's face. The first time we have ever seen him cry. Seeing this, Brooke makes a confession of her own. She tells him, "I am just like you. I don't feel anything." She admits that when her mother died, she felt numb. But now, seeing her father cry, she finally feels something stirring inside her. It is a moment of shared brokenness. Brooke loves her father deeply. The next day, as they resume their journey, Brooke insists on learning how to shoot. Colton begins her training. It doesn't take long for him to realize that her aim is naturally precise. She truly is her father's daughter. After some time, they arrive at the outskirts of the town in Colorado where the gang is hiding. Colton begins to strategize. He knows James has men posted inside waiting for him, and a frontal assault would be a suicide mission. He decides he needs to flank them and enter from the rear. However, Brooke suggests a different plan. She offers to infiltrate the town first. She argues that while they might recognize Colton, nobody knows what she looks like. She can scout the location, identify James, and signal Colton, making his job easier. Colton agrees to the plan, and Brooke heads into the village. Unfortunately, the plan fails immediately. As soon as she enters, James's men recognize her. Colton and Brooke didn't realize that James had been stalking their family for a long time before the murder. He had watched them from the shadows, waiting for Ruth to be alone. He knows exactly who Brooke is. They capture her and drag her to James. James looks at the girl and delivers a grim promise. He is going to kill her father, and nothing can change that fate. However, he offers her a deal. He doesn't want to kill a child, so if she wants to live, she must join his group and help lure her father into a trap. Brooke looks him in the eye and defiantly replies, "If anyone is going to die, it is you." Outside, Colton grows suspicious. Too much time has passed, and Brooke hasn't signaled. Realizing something is wrong, he moves in. He spots a sentry trying to hide. Colton sneaks up from behind and stabs him silently, avoiding gunfire to keep the element of surprise. He moves like a ghost, cutting throats and eliminating threats one by one. Eventually, however, the silence breaks, and a full-blown firefight erupts. Bullets fly from every direction. Colton takes down man after man, but in the chaos, he is shot. The surviving gunman runs to James, panic in his voice, reporting that Colton has wiped out almost the entire crew and is coming for them. James grabs Brooke and drags her outside, using her as a shield. He orders his last man to hold a gun to the girl's head, while he shouts for Colton to show himself. Colton steps out, wounded but ready. James shoots him again, taunting him. "Do you recognize me?" he asks. When Colton says no, James reveals his identity. "I am Robert's son. You killed my father and his whole gang. I was too young to stop you then, but today I have come to kill you." James then initiates a sadistic game. He tells Colton he won't kill him easily. He has to make a choice. James points his gun at Colton, while his henchman holds a gun to Brooke's head. James explains the rules. If you shoot me to save yourself, my man will kill your daughter. If you shoot my man to save your daughter, I will kill you. Colton doesn't hesitate for a fraction of a second. He swings his weapon and shoots the henchman, saving Brooke. The henchman falls, but James immediately fires, shooting Colton squarely in the chest. Colton collapses. The wound is fatal. Brooke rushes to him, bursting into tears. We see her crying for the first time. The girl who never cried is now sobbing uncontrollably as she watches her father take his final breaths. James stands over them, smiling, believing he has won. But he has made a fatal error. He forgot that Brooke is Colton's daughter. While James gloats, Brooke grabs the gun. With the same deadly precision as her father, she shoots James directly in the head, ending him instantly. She returns to her dying father's side. With his last ounce of strength, Colton hands her his pocket watch. He tells her it contains her mother's picture, and that this watch always helped him remember who he was. He tells her it will guide her too. "Live your life well," he whispers. "You are a smart girl. You know what you have to do." With those final words, Colton Briggs dies. Marshal Jarrett arrives on the scene shortly after. Surveying the carnage, he looks at Colton's body with respect. He admits that while Colton was a killer, he was a good man in the end. He knew Colton would never stop until his wife was avenged. Jarrett then turns to Brooke. He reveals that they recovered the stolen money the gang had buried. Instead of turning it over to the government, he gives it to her. He tells her to go back, fix up the shop, and live a peaceful life. He offers his help if she ever needs it. The survivors take Colton's body back to town for a proper burial. And with that, the film concludes. This brings us to the end of our video today. If you enjoyed this recap, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you for watching.